structure you are looking at belongs to the most famous predator in the history of life on Earth, and almost everything popular culture has told you about it is wrong. Not just slightly wrong or wrong in the minor details, wrong at the level of what it looked like, what sounds it made, when it actually lived, and whether anything you have seen in a film reflects the animal that actually existed. Welcome to the story of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Everything we know about T-Rex comes from fragments pulled from the ground, mostly across the American West, over the last 150 years. The first fossils were discovered in the late 19th century, and the reconstructions that followed were, to put it charitably, mostly guesswork. Early depictions showed dinosaurs as slow, cold-blooded, tail-dragging reptiles with very little going on behind their eyes. Museums presented these reconstructions with total confidence, and they were almost entirely wrong. But here is the thing, science did not stop. Today we have fossils from over 900 dinosaur species, with approximately 45 new species identified every year. More than 10,000 individual dinosaur fossils have been cataloged and studied, and with each discovery, the picture of what these animals were has been revised, sometimes quite dramatically. See, the T-Rex that current science describes and the T-Rex that Jurassic Park popularized are not the same animal, not even close, and we will get into exactly why shortly. Dinosaurs first appeared roughly 230 million years ago during the Triassic period as small animals in a world still dominated by other reptiles. By the Jurassic period, they had exploded in size and diversity, producing the giants that films like Jurassic Park made famous. Brachiosaurus, Stegosaurus, Diplodocus, you name them. Tyrannosaurus Rex lived with none of them. T-Rex appeared approximately 68 million years ago in the final stretch of the Cretaceous period on an isolated landmass called Laramidia, which is now western North America. It was separated from Stegosaurus by roughly 80 million years, which is why placing them in the same film is the exact kind of error as setting a story in ancient Rome and including a character with a smartphone. But I digress. The world T-Rex actually lived in also looked nothing like what most films show. Laramidia was humid and subtropical. It had dense forests, swamps, and river systems. There were no open plains, no grass because grass had not yet evolved. Ferns and low vegetation covered the ground. Its ecosystem included Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, Ankylosaurus, small mammals, and crocodilians. So T-Rex was not an animal that existed in isolation. It was part of a rich, complex world and one that was, though nothing alive at the time knew it, already moving toward its end. Now let's look at what T-Rex actually was so you have the full picture. 12 meters long, 6 to 7 tons, a skull over 1.5 meters long, engineered almost entirely around the jaw. Its bite force has been estimated at up to 57,000 newtons, enough to crush bone completely and cleanly, which is exactly what it did. Fossil prey animals frequently show T-Rex teeth marks pressed into the bone itself, not just the surrounding tissue. Then there are the things the films keep getting wrong. T-Rex had binocular, forward-facing eyes, the same configuration as modern predators built for precision hunting. The idea that it could not detect stationary prey is fiction. It has no basis in any fossil evidence. It originated from a single line of film dialogue and somehow became a fact that people repeat with great confidence to this day. It also almost certainly did not roar. The closest living relatives of the dinosaurs are crocodilians and birds, and neither of them roar. They produce low-frequency sounds, closed-mouth calls, and vibrations. T-Rex most likely communicated in ways you would feel in your chest before you heard with your ears. And the arms, short, yes. Useless, no. Each arm could exert an estimated 200 kilograms of force. They were not the primary weapon, the jaws handled that. But in close combat, holding prey in position while the jaws finished the work, they were far from decorative. In 1990, a fossil hunter named Sue Hendrickson discovered a set of bones eroding from a cliff face in South Dakota. What she had found was the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex ever recovered, approximately 90% of the skeleton intact. The fossil was named Sue, and it now lives at the Field Museum in Chicago. Sue's bones tell a story that no film has ever told. Healed fractures across the skeleton, evidence of severe infections in the jaw, damage consistent with repeated combat. This was not an invincible apex predator moving effortlessly through a submissive world. This was an animal that was injured regularly, survived those injuries, and died at roughly 28 years old, which for a T-Rex was actually a reasonably long life. Then again, that is what it means to be the dominant predator in a world that also contained Triceratops and Ankylosaurus. It was not easy, and Sue's skeleton makes that plain. What it actually looked like. The T-Rex of popular culture is gray or green, fully scaled and lizard-like in texture. The T-Rex of the fossil record is considerably more complicated than that. Its ancestors had feathers. Whether adult T-Rex retained any feathering is still debated, but current evidence suggests that large adults were likely predominantly scaly, with feathers probably lost as body size increased and heat regulation became a more pressing biological concern. As for the coloration, the gray, the green, that is entirely invented. We have no fossil evidence for T-Rex skin color whatsoever. It is also worth noting that the skeletons on display in museums are reconstructions. Incomplete fossils filled in using inference and comparison with related species, assembled using modern scanning and symmetry techniques. They represent the best available interpretation of fragmentary evidence. They are not a direct window into the past. They are a story built from what survived. What we are losing. There are approximately 61 Tyrannosaurus Rex fossils currently held in museums around the world. There are approximately 71 in private hands. In 2020, a fossil known as Stan, one of the most scientifically significant T-Rex specimens ever recovered, with decades of published research built around it, was sold at auction for $31.8 million. It was purchased by an anonymous buyer. Its current location is not publicly known, and scientific access to it is, for the time being, effectively zero. Stan was not just a fossil, it was a data set. Measurements, pathologies, bone density readings, growth patterns, information embedded in the physical object that casts and scans cannot fully replicate, and that future techniques may have been able to extract in ways current methods cannot. That information is now inaccessible, possibly permanently. Basically, every fossil that moves into a private collection and disappears is a chapter of a story that cannot be recovered. We have been studying T-Rex for 150 years, and we are still learning what it was, and we are losing the evidence before the study is finished. To close, what the world needs to understand is this. T-Rex is not what Jurassic Park made it. It did not roar. It did not chase jeeps across open plains. It did not share a world with Brachiosaurus. It was not an invincible machine that existed outside of consequence. Rather, it was a predator shaped by 68 million years of evolution on an isolated continent, living a genuinely brutal life in a rich and complex ecosystem at the very end of an age that was already in decline. The reputation it carries was built on a combination of incomplete science and very effective cinema. Meanwhile, the animal itself, fragmented, reconstructed, and increasingly at risk of disappearing into private vaults, is considerably more interesting than the myth.